Okay. All right. So we have here. This is Heroes Lounge match, correct?
Yep.
Cool. And you're going to be on the Arthas. All right. Let's take a look at these drafts. This is actually a really cool draft. I love this draft. Very cool synergy.
I'm glad you like it. I think one of our strengths is actually drafting,
Mm-hmm.
but we are not good in the macro and in the execution.
Yeah, absolutely. So this draft is an extraordinarily strong team fight draft. The main
Mm-hmm.
problem with it is just the map that you chose it on is very sprawled out map. There's a lot of split skirmishes that happen on Towers of Doom because you have the different objectives, sometimes three at a time spawning. Um,
Yeah.
and with that situation, it's very unlikely for you to get a 5 versus 5 fight almost ever. There's very few
Mm-hmm.
opportunities for 5v5 fights on this map. So
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
this comp would be outstanding on maps that encourage 5v5 team fighting, like a Volskaya or even the Sky
Mm-hmm.
Temple sometimes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
BOE,
BOE, sure. I mean, you don't have that much race.
Infernal Shrines.
Um, yeah, it could work on Infernal Trends too. You're not super heavy on the Shrine Clear, but you do
Yeah,
have
yeah,
these
sure.
really cool synergies that I want to talk about really quickly. Anub'arak and Arthas are an awesome double tank pairing because they both counter opposite things. Anub'arak is great against mages and spell damage, and Arthas is great against physical damage and melee heroes. He
Mm-hmm.
covers the dive essentially. Your team can't be dived with an Arthas, and Anub'arak is
Mm-hmm.
great at hard engaging. So this is an
Mm-hmm.
awesome tank pairing. You also have the synergy between Arthas and Raynor,
Yeah.
and Jaina and
One of
Raynor
the
with the
reasons I
slows and
choose
auto
Arthas.
attacks being empowered, right? And then you have the Ana for the Jaina for the Nana boost, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Mm-hmm.
cool synergy. I love the draft. I do think that this is going to be a little challenging for you specifically as the Arthas in the solo lane because of the fact that you're going to have to go up against Leoric, I assume.
Yeah, I made that assumption as well, but I had to face Falstad.
Falstad instead? Okay. Okay, let's take a look at their draft real quick. So they have Johanna, Falstad,
They,
Leo, Vala, Oriel.
yeah.
So they have the
They,
Oriel Vala combo, which has a lot
mm-hmm.
of damage and healing output, but it's not a double support. So Vala could be shut down. There's a 4 second cooldown on Oriel's healing, so there's definitely a window of opportunity to take Vala out. She's got a very small health bar. So if she can ever get stunned in range of a Jaina, I think she should be able to get killed. All right. Interesting that they chose to have not Leoric be the one that's matching you, but instead the Falstad. Falstad into Arthas is not nearly as good of a matchup, just because Arthas or Falstad's he doesn't get his self healing until level 4, and Arthas can basically in this matchup you basically just use your death coil on cooldown to hit the Falstad and try and zone
Mm-hmm.
him out of experience because he
Okay.
can't possibly walk into your melee ever. So as long as you're staying mounted and then launching death coils at him, and just trying to prevent him from catching any soak possible. That's really the way you want to play this matchup. Leoric is a much harder matchup for Arthas.
Yeah, I think Leoric beats him from my
Oh
experience.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I didn't use the death call thing.
Okay. Well, let's see how you play this. Do you also go for Rhyme here? Okay, that's fine. They have some auto
I
attackers.
choose Ryan because Falstad and voila.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally fine.
And I thought we had engaged on Anoop already.
Exactly. Perfect reasoning. All right, so you head directly to the lanes after this because you see that they're not really here. They have their 3-man bottom right now. Okay. So yeah, you're somewhat allowing him to get the first clear on the minions, which is a problem because your wave clear as Arthas is pretty bad. So if it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the situation where they clear the wave and you haven't even started clearing yours, they're going to be able to push and potentially get some structure damage, and you'll have no choice but to try and clear the minions instead of trying to trade. So it's very important not to fall behind on the wave clear when you're dealing with an Arthas. You want to be zoning out whatever your matchup is. That's how you can possibly win the solo lane. So
Okay.
you land your root well, but it's also at the same time as he used his lightning rod. Whenever you're in a
Mm-hmm.
solo lane versus a Falstad, you want to try and break the lightning rod as soon as possible, and then look for an engage. Because this is a huge source of their solo target damage. This is probably like the vast majority of the health that you lost.
So I try to get him to cast Lightning Rod on me and then disengage to break
if
it.
he uses it at the
then,
melee or at the farther range than melee, then you should be able to try and tether it, or if you root him and then walk 2 steps away and then come back. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And then the other thing is, this is really important too. This is actually not a terrible scenario for you. What you need to be doing though is stalling the minion wave, right? So what you want to do is you want to be standing within the range of the minions of the backline, and just very slowly taking these tiny little mini steps. You can hold your right mouse button and just drag it slowly towards the towers. What that'll do is it'll prevent the minions from actually hitting you. You're not going to take any damage during it, because they constantly start their attack animation and then get canceled because you step just too far away. And it's going to very slowly walk them towards your base until this next group of minions clashes, and you want that clash to happen right here. What that does is that it prevents Falstad from being very safe in his lane. If he wants to soak the minions, these ones, he's going to have to be at least this far up, which means that you can either try and zone him out, or you can potentially call for a gank or something along those lines. All right?
Yeah.
So this is very important when you're playing any type of solo laner that requires zoning out of experience as their playstyle. So that includes Thrall, Arthas, what else? Alarak, but he's not really used as a solo laner anymore. But there's a few others that I'm not thinking of right now. But that's the general thing you want to do, is you want to Imperius,
maybe.
Absolutely, because anything that doesn't have super strong wave clear, your goal isn't to out wave clear. Your goal is to out soak by zoning them out. So it looks like you have a little bit of the same idea, but you're standing back and forth this way instead of slowly walking.
Okay.
And you're tanking.
Yeah,
you're tanking minion damage too.
Okay. Yeah, I do it poorly. I wanted to the wave on my side, so he has to come far up. But my execution is. I need to work on that.
You also want to try and be mounted in this situation instead of using your mana and whatnot here and tanking damage from the minion wave. You want to be mounted so that you can run at him, and if he doesn't immediately dismount you, you can potentially get a root and chunk him out, as well as zone him from the experience. So you do land the root. Okay. All right. So right now you're trading health pretty favorably, but I don't want to see you wave clearing right now. This is the same situation. Instead of wave clearing, I want to see you
push it
mount,
again.
get to this bush, sit in this bush right here. You're close enough to catch the experience, but you're also close enough to zone out the Falstad if he comes. You can usually land a surprise root. You don't want to be showing, so I'd like to see you run around this side into this bush and then come down from here. At this point, it's a little too late for that. Let's see. So now he's trying to zone you from the experience. He also used his tap. Okay. This is actually not so bad. You're letting him clear. This is fine. Meanwhile, in the rest of the lanes... So they're taking their camp. You guys need to also be taking yours. Okay, good. We have a Nubrak still catching bot soak. Okay, Leo mid, Rainer mid. So this is a little unorthodox. I would say most of the time on Towers of Doom, what you're looking for are solo laners that can double lane soak. And they actually have that in Leoric. So they kind of messed up so far. They should have Leoric in the top lane. He can very much so out-wave clear you and out-trade you as an Arthas. So he can fast clear this and then immediately rotate and catch the mid-soak and come back. Even if he misses 1 or 2 minions, it's still worth it for him to only be one person that's doing that, because you need 2 bodies to do that. And that means they have a 4 versus 3 in the bottom lane, which means that they can always go for invades, and they can get the tower wall bottom very easily in the early game. So the speed at which you guys go for this camp is going to potentially cost you it, because they have the time to invade. They did theirs first, and they immediately ran
was
over.
way too slow. And there comes the fight set.
Alright, let's see how this fight goes. So there looks like there's a bit of a split. Alright. Okay.
I think I killed a Vala.
Yeah.
But
He
our
vaulted forward.
tank dies.
Okay. That heal. Big heal. But they get it. Okay. So this is also another little important detail. If the enemy team does invade this camp, it's really good to keep them on this side and try and kill them here, as opposed to allowing them to go through the regular path. If everyone walks away, these guys will walk around here and they'll run into the towers. If you bait them further into here, they'd have to go all the way to here before they start running in. So you can usually kill them very safely in this position. It's just a way.
Oh, you mean bait them over to the right side?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
When they steal your camp?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's successful here for one of them, but you want to get all three, of course. These two are going to get value. Okay, tower and gates.
Massive.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the whole bot wall. And Towers of Doom is very much so about the bottom lane. The bottom lane is by far the most important for several reasons. One of them being the positioning of the objectives. So there's an objective here and an objective here. And then the other two are both on the safe side of the map for the different teams. It's very rare to be able to take the opponent team's objective on this side just because of the positioning. It's so easy to poke it out. You can usually have some heroes that can poke it from the safety of their base or from multiple different angles. You can poke it out, stall it out. So it's very often that the only ones that get contested heavily are the bottom two. So because of that fact, if you have the bottom fort taken, there's so many paths that are not able to be taken. Basically, this is the only path that you can even approach to get to some of these objectives. Between this path and this path, these are the only two paths that you really have. I guess you could come from the enemy side, but that combined with the fact that you have two camps in the same lane that can get you potential shots. So that's the reason why the bottom lane is so impactful on this map. So it's really important not to lose your gate, especially in your fort. And I would say that in 9 out of 10 games, if you ever take the bottom fort, you should win that game. Just straight up. Should already be won. If you play it accordingly. If you don't give it up. Alright, so for the first objective, how do you split up your lanes?
I'm going to top right.
Okay.
The rest is going to the mid shrine.
They have the fall stats, they have the global, so they can get to this fight faster to force a 4v5. So what could you do in this situation that could negate that value?
We could interrupt Falstad.
Interrupt Falstad? Okay, yeah, that's a possibility. Because he has no choice but to be here to channel this. So if you send anything on your team, it could probably be the Rainer. You want something that can potentially 1v1 the Falstad. So the Rainer or the Arthas, either one, to go to their side, and then something to cap here, and then the rest to immediately collapse. That means that you're setting yourself up for a 3v4 in the bot lane, however. So you basically want to be very careful about doing this, but what that does is it negates the value that the global can have. Because you're going to have a 4v5 regardless, otherwise.
So you think 4v3 is 3v4 is better for us than 4v5?
I'm saying, yeah, in this situation, having a 3v4 is better than the 4v5 because you're also threatening getting the top one. You don't actually have to win down here. All you have to do is prevent them from capping for a little while. And what happens up here is you cap this immediately, and then whoever capped this one can immediately run to the left and help secure this one as well.
Okay.
You can either do it that way.
The other three guys just interrupt the enemy four, and maybe even stop them from coming up to a
Ideally, you want to have heroes that have good stall, right? So Jaina's not ideal. She doesn't have the longest of range. I don't think, so most people don't go for the Frostbolt range. But Anubrak's actually amazing at stalling, especially if you go Bed of Barbs, which he did not. But nonetheless, Beetles is pretty good too for stalling, just spawning them constantly. His Impale's got quite a decent range on it, and if you go Bed of Barbs at 4, it continues to do damage for the next 3.5 seconds, I think. And it's just incredible for zoning out like a whole line so that they can't just keep on right-clicking it. Ana also has quite a long range on her sleep, especially if you're in the trait form or whatever. So yeah, I think this is doable to zone out. It's you have to execute it a little bit appropriately. Ana can't get dove on. That's the real key here. Is that if Ana gets targeted, then it's all over. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a little too far up in this position. In
and
Arthas,
Rainer is zoned out.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Rainer is zoned out. We are split. I think that's
yeah. So Rainer's already kind of
problem.
approaching from a tough angle here. Let's take a look how this goes. They turn around and focus the Anubarak. Good blizzard here. You should probably just E out just to avoid tons of damage, but okay. Alright, and the fly comes in. It's now a 4 versus 5, but you're rotating. So this is fine. This is fine. They haven't capped it yet. However, Rainer's very zoned out. You're with him, so your team has to step up right now and try and take this fight together as a group, or you're probably going to have to forfeit. Okay. See, nobody's even contesting this right now. Yeah. So you guys are going to give that up because the bottom half of your team just didn't step up at the right time.
Also, Jaina is not with the group.
Yes, that too. That's unfortunate.
Because...
Yeah, you guys definitely can get kills here, and I think you guys can win. You should win this objective. If it comes down to a 5 versus 5, your team fight is stronger with this composition, especially once you get to level 10, but even right now, I think it's still stronger. All right, and the new Brat goes down as well because he used his E. All right, back to lanes. So they've finished getting the full bottom wall. Okay, so this is good. This is exactly what I was talking about. I'm assuming Falstad has... Oh, he doesn't have it. Okay, this is a perfect example of how to just punish the enemy team's mistakes. He doesn't go for the self-sustain talent. He goes for the shield on his lightning rod.
Okay.
And what that means is that he has 0 passive regen.
Mm-hmm.
Beside what his whatever passive regen is. So I shouldn't have said that. What is passive regen?
No self-healing.
He has no self-healing whatsoever. He only has the shielding from his W, so you want to obviously break that as soon as possible. And this is exactly where you want to be using Death Coil on cooldown and prevent him from ever picking up a globe. You just stand on top of the globe. If he ever tries to walk in and grab a globe, you chunk him for like 70% of his health, right?
Okay. Got that. Looking forward to my next Arthas game.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a tough situation here just because the line is up here for the clash. So it's very unlikely for you to be able to kill the Falstad. And he could potentially zone you out a little bit. And he's not clearing either. So yeah. Oh, maybe he will. There we go. Okay. All right. So this is... Yeah, so there's only one objective spawning, 24 seconds. You have to make sure you're close enough to be there in time. This is very important for your team to get this as a 5v5, and they're in fact invading. A lot of this has to do with the fact that you guys aren't able to double lane soak. So you have Rainer that has to be split from the rest of the team, and so they have a 4 versus 3 situation. So they can't really step up and have control of their side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
So you have vision of this. They are split focus right now, but it looks like they're still going to take the camp. Okay. It's a little bit unfortunate. It's really good timing for them to grab that camp, but I still think that this is worth contesting. But you're very split, right? This is the same situation. Okay. Let's see how this approach goes. Really nice sleep. Okay, everyone abandons this in favor of fighting. I guess that's okay, but you guys have to actually win the fight. Okay, they are stepping up for the... So you're going to get pretty zoned out here because you're going to get chunked out by Leo. Probably dead? Yeah.
I'm dead.
And they cap it too. So this is simply a situation where your team just isn't stepping up fast enough as a group. And you stepped up where you needed to, but the rest of your team wasn't there, so you got punished for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't be giving the free objective in the 5v5 team fights because this is where your team is supposed to be strongest, and you guys basically lost it because of where everyone was on the map. All right. I think level 10 is going to be hopefully a big turnaround, hopefully, for team fighting, just because you'll have the cocoon. I'm assuming you go cocoon. And then you'll have... Do you go Army of the Dead or Syndragosa?
Army.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the army is going to prevent you from being a kill target against their team. Virtually no chance of them killing you if you pop your army at the start of a team fight and go in hard. Try and basically surround yourself with as many enemies as possible and just constantly keep healing yourself. That's how you win the fight. So they use the fly here.
You mean I should slow as much people as possible?
Yeah, you want to have your Frozen Tempest affecting as many heroes as possible. Specifically, of course, their damage if possible. But just try and be as annoying as possible positioning-wise once you have Army of the Dead. Because if you want them to hit you. You want them to all in on you and fail. That's how you win as Arthas. You have... Let's take a look at your talents. You have Icebound Fortitude. You have Rhyme. So you're extremely tanky once you have your level 10 ultimate. Because you've got the block stacks, you've got the armor, and the... reduction on the stuns and slows and roots, and then you have the passive healing coming in, as well as the ghouls can block skill shots too, which is kind of nice too.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly slowing down their damage with your Frozen Tempest, there's a good chance that the rest of your team should be able to kill them as they're trying to kill you. All right, so they have a 5-man all mid. Nobody's bottom right now. You guys are still on pace to get to level 10 at the same time, so that's good. Even though it's a 4 kills to 1 situation, so that means that you're doing really well on soaking. You're catching most of the experience. That's really good. Good catch here. Sitting in the bush. Okay. Oh, drop your E. Drop your E.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
A little bit. So the other thing is that because you're going up against the Falstad with the W build, going in for these plays where you root and then dump your damage, use your trait, it's good, but it's not great because every single time you do that, he is just going to use his W and he's going to get his shield value. That's why I'd like to see you using the Death Coil without being in range of his W more so, because the Death Coil is pure damage. Just absolutely, like, nothing he can do about it unless he barrel rolls the damage, which is a mistake. You can't do it every time either.
Oh, you can dodge it with barrel roll?
It's not a matter of dodging it, it's a matter of giving yourself the shield.
Oh, the shield, yeah, okay.
But it's his highest mana ability, and it's on a much longer cooldown than yours is. Alright, so you head down. This is not a terrible place for you actually to intercept here. This wouldn't be too bad. Oh, but this is not so good. So this is the same situation, right?
I'm not sure if I was aware that he's there. I saw he's flying.
That's fine. You're focusing
I
on
wanted
this.
to join the fight as quick as possibly.
Yeah. The Gust is really good to save the Vala, but I think this guy could die. No, never mind. Okay, but you're able to stall it out. You don't go for the nano boost, which I would say is a mistake, but on this map, this ultimate can get a lot of value for stalling, and you guys have been struggling with being able to stall out the objectives, so it's not so bad. I don't mind it too much. Nano boost would be really nice for the Jaina, just to burst things down, but... Alright, so... You have the Leoric dead already, but the Johanna is very far out, and her trait's already used. So I'd like to see you running at the Johanna and preventing her from getting away, because I think this is an absolute
You should have collapsed all 4 on her.
You still have, you just put up your E, and you stay close enough to the Johanna. Now you stay close to the Oriole. You should try and weave in a few more auto attacks. I think you're missing a couple here and there. Leoric is now back alive, so it was very important for you to get a kill on something that's not Leoric in the time while he was spawning. It's very important. Did Raynor die? I missed that.
Yeah,
okay.
He was dead.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
I thought you guys had the Leo kill 4v5. That's my bad. Okay, so that one's lost too. So this is the same story. You have the single spawning altars that your team is not able to win primarily off of positioning. They just have positioning, and that's not okay because if they're capping, it means that it's a 4 versus 5 or whatever the numbers are. They have one less person because they're trying to channel. So every time that they try and channel, you need to be hard initiating and either getting a kill or stalling. Those are the two options. Okay. So yeah, they're definitely ahead on shots, which is not the end of the world for this map as long as you're okay on experience and map control. But I suspect they're going to be able to take down the bottom fort at some point. So they're very far out on the map right now. So yeah, I'd like to see you guys collapse on this and actually maybe even kill them right now. You have Cocoon coming up in 3 seconds. Your army's up shortly. Welly's up. So this is absolutely something you can chase them down. You collapse on them, and then you drop the Water Elemental, Cocoon anything, and run at something. So I would say Cocoon would be ideally on Oriole, and then you run at the Vala.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Just because I think Vala is the target that can die the easiest and the fastest during the Cocoon. And then as soon as the Cocoon is over, then you turn on
I don't
Oriole.
remember what we do now. I don't remember.
I think, yeah, you guys just disengage and play passive, which is not good for you guys. This is the.
I think we didn't realize the situation.
This is the because they're so far out on the map, they have a long way to go to get to safety. And when you have slows like Arthas and Jaina, you want to that prevents them from getting there even longer. So it's like twice the distance. So absolutely, you want to punish them for being this far out on the map. Okay, this is a decent situation. He used his barrel roll. I think this should be a dead Falstad, honestly. Actually, no, he's got Gust. I lied. But you can force the Gust potentially. If you didn't need to even root him. All you have to do is run at him with the Frozen Tempest up, and once it
stick to him, huh?
It stacks up to the max slow, it's very easy to land a Howling Blast.
Oh, okay, yeah. Should have waited with the Howling Blast.
Yeah, you just want to stay near him with the Frozen Tempest. That's all you have to do while auto-attacking him, and then land your Howling Blast while your Raynor re-engages, and then you guys can pick off the Falstad, or at the very least force him to Gust. Because the Leoric can't kill you fast enough before the Falstad dies. That's the idea. Okay, they go for this invade now because they see you in the top lane and you're not a global, so that they know that this is safe to do a 4v5. Yeah, this is pretty rough. Cocoon is on Oreo, but that still makes it only a 4v4. Hopefully you guys can kill Livala. No. Okay. So this is just another outnumbered team fight, which you don't have too much of a hope of winning, honestly. Is that also dead? Ooh. Oh, it's so close. Where did Anubarak go? Anubarak was down here. Did he back? Yeah, he backed. Okay, this should not have been a dead Falstad, or it shouldn't have been a dead Raynor. If Anubarak was with you guys, with him, let me just take a look. I don't think he needed to back. Let's see, after the invade. Okay, so yeah, he doesn't have to back. I mean, he can, but let's see. He's trying to find the... That's why. Okay, he backs for mana, trying to get the Vala kill, but he should have just been with your Raynor, preventing them from running it into the bottom lane, And this guy dies every time if and Raynor doesn't die if Anubrak's here.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, so this is a double spawn, and this one's on your side, so this should still be very safe and easy for your team to take, even though it's going to be 13 versus 12 for a short amount of time. You also have the Ana ultimate to potentially stall out either or both, if necessary. They look like they want to fight. All right. Definitely want to put your E up. You want to have your Frozen Tempest up this whole time, because Johanna has been just hitting you this whole time, and your Frozen Tempest is preventing damage for you to be taken, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, grenade is used just as a stall. Not ideal. Grenade's pretty important to use at a key moment. Alright, you gotta pop your ultimate immediately. Yeah, you did. Okay, good. You used your...
I'm dead anyways.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Let me take a look at that one again. I think you also could have used your armor a little faster. Let's take a look. Okay, the moment that the Drain Hope lands, that's when you press your Army of the Dead. Okay, now it goes up.
Icebound Fortitude, not used.
Fortitude is still... Okay, now it gets used. But you're already at 30, 20, 10. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, I think that if you get one more heal off of your ghoul, it's possible you stay alive with an Ana heal or something. And then you can get another ghoul heal, and then you guys can re-engage. Yeah, you just needed to use your defensives just a little bit sooner, I think. Icebound Fortitude, if you use it at like 70% health, you're totally fine. Because there were a couple...
I would have reduced the stun time from Vala, then probably get a ghoul, and yeah, less damage.
You do still have the Ana ultimate. I feel like you can very much so stall this out for a long time if you want to. You just have to play it a little bit slow, but she's not using it. That's a problem.
We didn't use it, no.
I mean, what's the point of having the ultimate if you're not going to use it? It's a 60-second cooldown. Yeah, this is not so good. This is a great positioning to have it. If you stand right down here and you shoot it through this line, like you're probably going to end up hitting 3 heroes on the enemy team, let alone healing on your team.
Could have turned that fight, actually.
Yeah, this is very doable, very stallable.
You have 4 on full health.
And you can get to level 13, potentially get Arthas back, and then you can get this objective. Does he have Cocoon? Yeah, so this is 100% a Cocoon right there. This is Cocoon on this guy, and then you chase this guy down. Because Vol is right in the middle of the open, right? So if you Cocoon this, even if you don't get the kill on Johanna, Vol is still a very good target to kill if you guys surround her and collapse on her. Okay. So you guys have the 13 talents here now. This camp is available. Like, I'd like to see you guys going for these aggressive invades as long as you guys are 5-stack. Basically, you have been behind on macro a lot in this game, and that has to do with being just not in the right positions on the map. So if that's the case, sometimes it's better just to deathball, right? In the deathball situation, you're always together, so it's hard to not be together, essentially, if you're just following each other, and that means that you should always have an advantage wherever you go. What that will lead to is that Falstad's going to be able to get control of the top temple or tower, but if you trade the top tower for having control of the bottom temple and you potentially get kills since you have the Anubrak, it's worth it. It's well worth it, right? Bottom temple is way more valuable than the top temple because there's only one camp up here, so that's potentially 3 shots. This is potentially 6 shots and better positioning for the objective.
Control. Yeah.
So yeah, I really want to see this invade. Gotta get on this point.
Here we go.
Okay. Good. No! Nobody steps on the point. You have 2 tanks that are really close, but they don't step on the point. Anub'arak E's and stops here. This is really big problem. Okay, so in this situation,
was I close enough to make it?
You can
or
absolutely stuck on it. Yeah, I think either one of you could have. Let's take a look. You don't have your army up right now, but that's okay. But you just need to take steps forward. Yeah, you stop short of it. You see?
Ah, okay. And Anub didn't bow on it.
Yeah, he burrowed towards the Vala.
Okay.
All right.
I think we killed them.
Yeah, so in this situation,
we take the bot fort.
You cocoon the Vala here, and then you kill the Oriole, and then you can either start to whittle down the Johanna potentially, or you just focus the cocoon afterwards. But he has to cocoon this. He's going to take his whole life in damage.
As soon as possible. Okay, nice.
Now it goes down. Oriole has to die as soon as possible. So you're doing a good job, but any of your damage needs to connect. Okay, there we go. So Anub'arak's very low, but he does live. Okay, cool. It's a double kill. But you don't get the camp, unfortunately. It could have been so much better. It was good. It was very good, but it could have been better. Alright, so with the triple kill, you got to take the bottom fort here. So you guys want to run it into bottom. You have the Anub'arak, and he actually has the beetle talent on 1. So that means that you're going to have endless beetles. There's no reason not to push. So you want to be pushing this real hard. Make sure you're getting this bottom fort. Even though you didn't get the objective.
I think that's what she actually do. Yes, we made that call.
Excellent.
Where am I going?
So you're probably
the
splitting off to catch
pushes,
Soak.
And I'm going to catch Soak.
Normally, I would say that this is the right play to do, but because you're an Arthas and you can't double lane Soak, I almost feel like it's better for you to just make sure that this is guaranteed. Let's take a look.
But they had 3 dead, so we thought it's guaranteed.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, it works out. That's fine. I don't know if you needed to use the water elemental here. It's kind of because the objective is coming up right now.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Okay. Globe. So yeah, he outtrades you if he's got his full W, right?
Yeah.
Very heavily. So you catch a little bit of soak here, and you prevent these from walking in. But let's see. So this is going to be guaranteed. This is really tough. Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, perfect. Getting the stall value. Really good. He's standing right in the middle of minions, but that's okay. This gets stalled out. I think this is very good for you guys. This gets captured, and you guys should be able to collapse on this in time. You get pretty chunked out here as a result of the Falstad, but I think you have to walk around. You have no choice. You can't approach through this angle. So you have to go the safe way. You have to give some of these pumpkins. It's not going to take the fort, so it's fine. It's not worth taking your whole health bar before the objective spawns. All right. So you head to bottom, or to here. Well, good. Okay, so now you're still very low. You gotta stealth coil yourself and then pop army the moment you start to walk in. As soon as Rainer arrives, that's the time to go. Okay, so you land your W first.
I didn't pop my army in time.
Didn't army. You're gonna get isolated and you're dead. Yeah. So you had to death coil yourself first and then army so that you have immediate lifeline because you needed it. You're 40% health.
Yeah.
Now this is a 4v4 and you don't, or a 4v5 and you don't have the Ana ultimate anymore. So I think this is gone. It's unfortunate. This is a really good comeback position for you guys since you have the bottom fort. You have 5 shots versus 3. Even though you guys lost 2 of the objectives, just for reference, I mean, that's giving them 6 shots and you got 5. You see what I'm saying? Like you only get 1 shot less since you have the bottom temple. It's insane.
Be swift, heroes. Do not let the Gravekeeper's cronies reach the altar's rear.
They go for boss as well. I think, yeah, there's no world where you can test the boss. You have only 3 people up. What I need to see is this get ripped as soon as possible. This gets taken immediately. Good. Okay. And you definitely don't want to give this bottom up. You want to make sure you're defending it down here. You have to have 2 or 3 people minimum in the bottom lane to secure, make sure this is still secure. And when these pumpkins walk up to here, there's a good chance you can go for kills and potentially let them walk in since you have cocoon. So anything that steps up like here or anything that's too far forward, you can cocoon and prevent them from stopping the pumpkins from walking in. If there's only one person, and if there's a group, you can look for kills. So having everyone up top is just a straight up mistake. They have their global in the bot lane, so if they really want to take a fight, they can. But they don't want to fight. They just want to take back they just want to take this back. So this is just a waste of your time. Cocoon goes down, but he doesn't immediately engage. He doesn't have burrow charge either. So this is this is rough. So you guys taking the forcing the fight's good here since it's a 4 versus 5, but you have to be very convincing about it. It has to guarantee that you're gonna actually make it happen. It looks like you guys are gonna go for the kill on the Vala, which is just fine. She still has the vault, so the root has to connect. You already used.
I tried to root her right after cocoon, but
I see. Okay. Yeah, none of the CC connected with the Vala, so this is not so good.
No.
Okay, the focus is now on the Leoric. Can he get chased down? There it is. All right, getting the Leoric kill is okay, but this is probably gone. Maybe you can defend it. You take this camp, you defend this. It's not the worst. No, and this is not defended. Okay. That was the first priority, was to save this first and then take this, but all right. So they have the top temple now, and they have 3 shots that are going to start walking into here, which you have to ignore. You have to get both of these and potentially try and get this back. I think that, so what I'd like to see is have one person ready to cap this immediately, and the rest sort of posturing. They're not showing, so that either they could be here or they could be rotating. Leo is about to res. It looks like you guys, yeah, he got vision of a lot of you guys. In fact, nobody's showing in the bottom for your team, so you're gonna kind of give up the initial capture. Don't need 3 people to capture it at all. They have everyone showing up here. Okay. So in this situation, I almost feel like you don't even cap this and you just push this as 5, because they're showing so many people
for
up
the
here.
extra shot.
It's not just for the extra shot, it's to regain control of this. Once you get this back, this is still pretty free. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In terms of travel time, it's going to take a while for them to get down here. So you can either have this for free right now, which gives you 3 shots, or you can take this and then probably also get this, plus have a much better control of the map. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
More importantly, in this situation, I think you get kills. If you cocoon the Leoric and then dive on the Falstad, I think this could be kills plus the temple plus this. I think you get everything. They're way overcommitting to this top. I don't know why they have 3 people trying to walk in a camp. It's a huge mistake. But you guys aren't capitalizing on it at all, right? Okay, now you start to step up.
I don't think so.
You don't have army just yet, but you don't really need it. You got beetles. It's so important that he just cocoons somebody as soon as possible. Like, E forward and then cocoon the Falstad, and then he's dead. You see what I'm saying? You don't even need to. You don't need to stun with the burrow charge. You just need to land a cocoon on the Falstad. Oh man. Okay. They're just stalling with that. Okay, so you guys get this back. All right, this is still a really rough position because the boss wins the game, but it's not up for a little while. So you guys have some time. It's just so important that this doesn't get taken back for the rest of the game, if you ever want to come back. So I don't like that you have 5 people in the mid right now.
Yeah, we should control the bot tower.
You just want to continue to control the bot tower and get every single time these camps come up, you have to catch them.
Check them.
Because the top temple is gone, this is a threat to the end of the game.
Yeah. Yes.
So you have to keep an eye on the cooldown of it. It's a minute and 30. So you want to basically time getting a kill around the same time that this comes up, so that you can send somebody up here to make sure that they don't get this for free.
Okay, yeah. I haven't thought about it that way.
And it looks like, so you're the person that comes bottom, which is really not correct because you don't have any wave clear. You need something with wave clear down here. And pushing this lane doesn't do anything. It's very unimportant to take this lane. It's just setting yourself up for basically a bad fight. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think I wanted to hold the tower.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I'm alone. I don't remember why I'm alone.
They have vision of you down here, so they know that this is a four people that's they can go either way, I guess. They have Vala and Oriole in the bot lane, so they can't really fight right now, which is a mistake from their side, but alright, now they start to burn this down.
Okay, my team is late.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Exactly. I think you can do a little bit more. Yeah, okay. Alright. Alright, so this is a decent target. He still has his Aegis. Gotta cocoon something else. Have to. Either one of these has to be cocooned. Okay, the grenade is fantastic. So it prevents all the healing from coming out. The Aegis is at 1 HP. It's not going to change anything. He's going to die still. Yeah, okay. So the cocoon does come out eventually, but it's just really late. I'd like to have seen it come out much faster. It's going to prevent damage on your team and guarantee that this guy dies afterwards. In this position, I still think he could die, but you have to land your root.
Oh, this is the big moment. Look what is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we forgot about that, and yeah, that was the nail in the coffin.
It's pretty rough. Yeah, that's a big gust.
But we didn't lose the game because of this.
Really?
I mean,
the game's not over? No, the game's over.
What I'm saying is that we made
no,
many mistakes
Sure.
that, yeah, you understand what I mean.
Okay, so because of the fact that this one down here is covered by the fort somewhat, yeah, you guys two-man this. If you can get this kill right now, you're still in the game. Does he try and cap? Yeah. No. Does he have Welly? No. Now this is tough.
Yeah, that's GG.
That's GG. So yeah, you guys had to kill the Faustad while he was trying to channel. You just had to approach at the same exact time. And then if you get that kill, maybe you can win. But anyway, yeah, so the bottom lane control, super important. You guys got the capture in the mid-game and then gave it back for free, which is really rough. You gave it back in exchange for a Leoric kill, and that's it. That's really bad.
Yeah, that's a bad trade.
Yeah, so the holding the bottom shrine or whatever, temple, bell, whatever you want to call it, fort, that's going to enable you to make these crazy comebacks. And then, of course, using Anna's ultimate here to stall out the objective long enough so that you guys can take an advantaged team fight. There were a couple times where I think you died just because you didn't use your defensives early enough in those situations. And I think that the early team fights were not so good. I think that the early game, like, you guys should have been winning those single spawn altars if you guys approached at the same time and had the same thought process. Because you have a really strong team fight comp, but you just gotta use it well. And I think that in general, one of the major problems was Anubrak not cocooning at the right times or not quick enough. There were several times where cocoon guarantees a fantastic outcome, and it just didn't happen for several seconds. And what that means is your team gets damaged too much that they can't capitalize on the cocoon afterwards.
So primary cocoon target is here always the Vala, right? Maybe Faustad.
It's very situational based on what's going on. You just don't want to have to use it on Johanna if you know that she has her trait, because you don't want to get it unstoppable. You can also, same situation with Leoric. It's very risky to use it on a hero with an unstoppable in their base kit. I'm happy. I'd be totally happy with a cocoon on Oriole almost every time. But really, what it comes down to is which of the squishy is out of position. Whichever one's out of position, then you cocoon something else and go for the one that's out of position.
Oh, okay. So Anub dives on the out of position target and cocoons the other squishy or the other
Yes.
Devala, whatever is
If you
still in
dive on the
position.
Oriole, then cocooning the Vala or the Falstad prevents the Anubrak from dying, and
Yeah.
that allows you to be very aggressive with your body blocking and make sure
Also
you
the
land good stuns. And
gust.
yeah, sure, the Gust as
Could
well.
deny the gust.
If you cocoon
The
the Oriole,
cocoon.
then you're getting rid of Aegis, and that's also really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, either way. But
Okay. Now we drafted a teamfight comp for a map that has a big macro
yes,
component. You
yes.
mentioned it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't draft a Leo yet, and
So the Leoric
which
was their
which
last pick.
which Leo was the last pick, yeah.
Okay.
Which hero would you pick
So
instead of
I
Arthas?
do think Dahaka would have been the ideal pick here.
Dehaka was banned.
Oh, that was banned.
But
Okay.
we banned Dehaka because we knew they played a lot of Dehaka, and it's good on this map.
Okay. I think Malthael also could have worked well. It's also a very good, solid double soaker. It's not great into their team fight really, but it does beat Leoric specifically. So you would have to play that. You don't play that as a 5-man team fight comp. You play that as a 4-1, where if they ever want to commit more resources to kill the Malthael, then you try and win heavily on the bot side of the map. So Malthael plays as a dueler. Malthael always goes to the place where they want to have only one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he should be able to double lane soak better than even Leoric because he can fast mount with his level 1, and because he can out trade Leoric. So if he ever catches him on the rotation, he should be able to just win by trading.
Okay. But the Leo was last pick, so
Oh, sure.
didn't see that coming.
If you don't see the Leoric, I mean, you could have taken Leoric too. Like, you just want to
True.
have something that can double lane soak safely and free up the rest of your team to be a 4-man. That's really what it's all about. So there's a lot of different heroes that can double lane soak. You just want to make sure you're able to do it safely.
So they had the last pick, and I choose offlane that can double soak.
Mm-hmm.
They can still counter my offlane and double, like I take Blaze, for
Okay,
example,
sure.
and then they choose the Marseille.
Well, Leoric is a
I,
good enough counter for the Blaze, yeah. But that's the thing, is that if you're taking something that can safely
yeah,
double
that's true.
soak, it doesn't really matter if you get countered. Does that make sense? Because the only situation where it matters if you get countered in a solo lane is if you need to control a point, like on Braxis or Dragonshire. Those are the maps
Mhm.
where if you get countered, it's like, well, I can't do the objective. But in this case, you can still do the objective because your
Yeah,
objective is just to catch 2 lanes of soak.
okay.
So yeah.
Okay. I thought while we were drafting about picking Samuro here. What do you think about that?
Samuro is very good at the macro game of Towers of Doom, especially if you're good with him. I'm assuming you play with the level 10 that allows you to control your hero better.
Of course.
Okay.
The Illusion Master.
Yeah, Illusion Master. So I think it would go really well with a very macro comp, and your comp isn't a super macro comp. So it's a little bit awkward to do the Samuro here. Like if your team had the Falstad, for example, instead of the Rainer, then I would say that the Samuro would be really cool, because then you have the option to have Falstad fly top and secure ganks or guarantee invades potentially. So what you could do in that situation is on when you have these double shrine or even triple. Let's say you have a triple spawn.
Yeah.
Samuro can capture this one and have one of his clones go and harass this one.
Yeah, interrupt
it, and then if it's only one person, Falstad flies to the top here into this bush, and then you guys have a 2 versus 1 where you've already captured yours, and then you can probably kill this person, capture this one.
Switch over, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have a Samuro matchup, especially with a global as well. It guarantees the top lane almost for free eventually, because you can just keep on taking this camp on cooldown. It's definitely a viable way to play the map, but it doesn't put a lot of emphasis on the bot lane, which is more important, I would say. So I don't think Samuro would have been good with this particular draft. But
I think my thought process was like this. We picked Anubarak, and I thought he's too squishy to solo tank, which is why I decided against it.
Yeah, I think that
But
it's a
I choose
combination of
double.
when you have the Ana as well. If the Ana is ever Dovan, it's pretty much game over. So having both a Nubrak and Ana is a little risky against a dive team that can reach the backline. For example, I know it sounds crazy, but if Johanna went for the other ultimate, for example, it could have been really dangerous for you guys because just having her be in your backline is such a problem for your team. You also have the Falstad Gust, which came in handy quite a few times, where Ana was able to get gusted into a bad position, and then the fight was pretty much over. So yeah, there's a few situations that I think that they got a lot of value out of the Falstad pick. I'm surprised that they didn't do the Leoric as their solo lane. That probably was a mistake, but really, you guys lost this on the very macro front. I don't think that you guys team fought poorly. It was just that, yeah, you guys were approaching from two different angles, and so you got cut off and you couldn't fight. So there was just a lot of mistiming or miscommunication that led to lost team fights, I would say.
Yeah. We have problems with positioning and being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. I do think that having a more macro hero for this map would have helped with that, just because I think you guys were behind on time a lot because of the macro aspect of the map. Like having Raynor have to be in the mid lane opened up this for being invaded quite a lot because it was 3 versus 4. They would fast clear their minions and run straight to your camp, and you guys are stuck clearing the minions as 3. And then by the time you walk up here, the camp's almost finished, and then it leads to a scrappy fight that doesn't work out so well because Raynor comes from the top, and they're all 4 together, and you guys are 3 people here and 1 person here, and then you come in afterwards after the Raynor dies, and you're here. But it's just it's just a matter of being 1 unit versus 2 split groups.
Yeah. You said something about death balling.
Yes.
Can you expand on this again?
Absolutely. So whenever you're playing HOTS, you have to think about what your team is good at and what their team is good at, because if you know that your team is better at the macro game, then trying to play macro into it is a mistake because it's never going to work. Their team is stronger at it. So what you have to do is not play their game and try to take the game on your terms. So in this situation, if they have a Falstad that's in the top lane and doing macro things like taking this camp and trying to grab this top altar, instead of trying to defend it with an Arthas and allowing them to take 4v5 team fights in the bottom lane with the Falstad Fly and the Gust and invades, instead, if you guys just 5-man the bottom and ignore the Falstad, it forces them to deal with you as a 5-stack in exchange. Like Falstad can eventually get the top temple and probably get 3 shots, but you guys will probably get kills and the bottom control as well. So it's worth doing that.
Which is much better on this map.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, it sounds crazy to say like, oh, forget about the soak, forget about the minions, but at this point, like after level 16, typically, it can still be worth doing that because 16 talent tier is the period of time during which there's the most levels before the next talent tier, right? 4 levels before then. So you have this big window of time during which what's most important is getting good positioning, and if you start getting kills at that time, that's when you can snowball because the death timers start getting longer and longer, and if you overlap that with when an objective spawns, it's a free objective. If you overlap that with when this camp spawns, it's a free camp, and so on and so forth. And it just allows you to create these windows of opportunity that are really great. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say death balling. You don't want to be doing that for the first 10 levels. You have to be soaking in the early game, obviously.
Otherwise, you fall behind too far.
Yeah.
In level.
If you fall behind before level 10, it's really rough. You have to give up every objective pretty much. So
yeah. Which other maps would you recommend double soaking on?
Double soaking? So any of the, let's see. This is by far the most common map for the double soak. just because of the positioning of the objectives. But most of the other double lane soak have less to do with the solo lane and more to do with the 4-man. So like Tomb of the Spider Queen
rotates between.
The 4-man is constantly rotating. As far as the solo lane, I don't even think there is another map where you need to do a double lane soak as the solo lane. You can do it on, for example, Infernal Shrines. On Infernal Shrines, when the objective is up, if you get a kill early on in the objective and you know that it's pretty safe that you're going to get the objective, the solo laner oftentimes should split off and double soak the middle and the bottom lanes while the 4-man finishes the objective and pushes with the objective. And what that does is it puts you ahead on level, but still allows you to push pretty effectively, and usually you can get the full fort, if not a good amount of damage on the fort as well. Other scenarios for double lane soaking. A lot of the maps are just too large for the double soak for a single hero. Like Cursed Hollow, you can't possibly double soak. It's not possible. Dragonshire,
what's
not really.
Dragonshire is 4-man.
Yeah,
double soaking,
the 4-man
right?
rotates. What else?
What about Volskaya?
On Volskaya, yeah, it's not the solo laner's job to double soak at all. You can try to do it if one of the problems with Volskaya double soak is the bottom lane has the treadmill, and the treadmill only goes one way, right? So it helps you go upwards, but it doesn't help you when you're trying to rotate downwards. So if you're the solo laner, and let's say the first objective is always in mid, but after taking the initial maybe towers, typically the correct response after that is to go for the top lane. In that situation, if the solo laner can catch the mid soak and the bot soak, that's ideal. But most of the time, you're just going to want to end up being in the bot lane. The lanes are still too far apart for the solo laner to really effectively double soak.
Yeah. Okay.